Data Skeptic mini episodes provide high-level descriptions of key concepts related to data science and skepticism. Our topic for today is entropy.
So entropy is the amount of unpredictability in a set of events. Now that's the key. Do you know what that means, though?
No.
Well, what is your colloquial? Is that a word? Colloquial? How do you say that?
Colloquial?
Yeah. What is your colloquial whatever?
Kyle's not a normal human. He can't say colloquial.
What does entropy mean to you?
I don't know what it means. I know it's a chemistry term. I think there's something about heat transfer or something.
Yeah, that's right.
But I can't remember.
So it's an idea that really comes out of the field of thermodynamics. But we're not going to talk about thermodynamics today, at least not directly.
But what does it mean, though, in thermodynamics?
More or less the same thing. It's the state of disorder. So entropy has the four laws, the zeroth, the first, and the second, and the third law of thermodynamics.
I've never heard of this.
Oh, no. Well, take a good course in thermodynamics. Nature has done some pretty wonderful things related to entropy, and a lot of machine learning people, they try and emulate that. Let's get back to that core definition. It's the amount of unpredictability in a set of events. You are a connoisseur of cheese of sorts, right?
I eat a lot of cheese. So
Yeah,
whether that means I'm a connoisseur or not, I don't know.
Well, you're picky. If we go, there's certain stores you don't want to shop at. And remember I bought that one cheese from that one store and you said it was really terrible and you wouldn't eat it?
To be clear, Kyle bought substitute cheese.
It wasn't government cheese, if that's what you're implying.
No, it said on there. So cheese has to have like this bacteria to be made into cheese. And this was not cheese. And I immediately could tell because I tried to melt it and it acted funny. And I was like, what the? And I looked at the bag and it said not cheese.
Well, it didn't say not cheese.
Basically, it said imitation cheese. Imitation is another word for not.
Okay, fair enough. So, well, let me ask you this. Have you ever bought cheese that was rancid? Like, it was bad from the get-go?
No, I can't tell. All cheese tastes rancid. That's my favorite kind.
But there must be some cheese that goes bad, right?
If it were rancid, I'd be like, this is the best cheese. I must buy it again.
Well, okay, well then I can still work with this. If that's true, then you've never seen rancid cheese. So if your goal is to predict...
Does cheese go rancid or does cheese just get mold on it? What's the definition of rancid in cheese?
I don't know, Linda. It's just a bad state. Let's leave it at that.
You're a data scientist. I thought you'd be more accurate and precise.
I'm trying to talk about entropy. Ugh. So if you've never had a cheese that went bad, then you know there's a lot of information content here. Then you know all cheeses are good. None of them go bad in your experience, right?
When I buy, yes.
Maybe if you're a nice Bayesian, you still admit that there's a chance that some cheese could be bad, but you find it to be fleetingly rare.
Sure. I just object to the point that you're calling me a Bayesian. That sounds racist. Just kidding. Moving on.
Now, what about if we flip a coin? What's going to happen there?
50-50.
Well, technically, it could land on its side, right?
It's not going to land on its side.
It did in that one episode of The Twilight Zone.
A coin?
Yeah.
I don't remember.
And then the guy could hear other people's thoughts for the rest of the day.
I don't remember the coin.
Well, it was a good episode. But yeah, basically, you flip a coin, 50-50, heads or tails. That is like your maximum state of entropy because there's no actual information prior to that. You can't predict the coin toss, right?
Can't predict the outcome.
Correct.
Okay, yes.
If I was trying to predict the outcome of your cheese inspection, will you think the cheese is non-rancid or let's say in a non-bad state? Then it's very predictable because you have a long history of finding that cheeses are generally pretty good.
I just buy whatever cheese is out there and it's fine.
Yeah, and whatever industrial processes have taken place, they seem to guarantee that the delivery to the grocery store is a fine product. So there's less entropy in that decision in deciding if it's a good cheese or not.
Unpredictability, yes.
Yes. Let's frame it one other way. What if I was giving you directions? And also, just to make this simple, because we want it to be binary, we want every decision to be kind of like yes or no, true, false, let's assume no left-hand turns. So you either go straight or you make a right turn. How many bits of information would it take you to tell me how to drive to the Argentina pupusa place that's near our house?
I think that one's just a right turn anyways, so.
Well, it's a right turn, and then it's a couple of like go straight.
Yeah.
So not that many bits of information. What if I wanted to describe how to get all the way up to, I don't know, San Francisco? How many bits of information would you require to tell me?
Hundreds.
So that's a more complex path. If we think of every intersection as a decision, one must decide, do I go straight or do I go right? Then you need 1 bit telling you straight or right. See how that works?
Okay.
That's basically the key of entropy from a data scientist's perspective. You want to reduce the amount of choice that has to be made at all times. Most listeners are aware that we have a bird, Yoshi. Can you describe Yoshi for those that might be new listeners?
Yoshi is a cute 4-year-old. No, she must be 5 or 6.
Yeah.
5-year-old lilac-crowned Amazon.
Mm-hmm. What are her hobbies?
Hobbies include sleeping, eating, hand-holding. We call it hand-holding, but basically she likes to sit on our hand.
Well, do you remember what I used to say her hobby was?
Destroy!
Yeah, our bird's hobby is destroy. Why is that?
She likes to use her beak to chew on toys, but that's kind of rare. She's kind of lazy.
She's gotten a little lazy, but she will still mess up a toy.
She likes chewing on wood, pork, but then if you give her too much of one thing, she gets bored.
So what if we wanted to predict, will Yoshi like her new toy or not, if we're going to buy her a new toy? There are all these inputs we could consider, right? Like its material, its size, whether or not it has beads, for example. She likes beads, right?
Yep.
She likes things that have wood. In particular, we should say she likes the shreddable wood.
On the label says shreddable wood. It's wood that...
It's a soft
It kind of feels like foam or styrofoam. It's very soft, and you just can tear it apart very easily.
Yeah, it's unlike the hardwood walnut project I have going in the other room there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so with her beak, she's able to break it up. Now, she also likes things with beads, right?
Yeah.
Is there any overlap? Does she require that a toy have both beads and shreddables?
I don't think so.
She also likes when toys have leather, right?
Yes, sometimes she'll sit and just chew on leather.
And strings. So there's a variety of things in different combinations. If we want to try and suss out what her internal model is for why she likes to favor one toy over another, we might do that by building a decision tree. So first we could ask, for example, does it have shreddable wood? If the answer is yes, then maybe there's a high likelihood she'll like the toy. If the answer is no, we have to ask another question, like does it have beads or leather or other features she's very fond of. We've talked a lot recently. We did the Gini coefficient about how you build a decision tree. Are you up to speed on decision trees? Could you maybe summarize what they are, how they work?
When you come to a decision,
Mm-hmm.
I assume there's only 2 decisions. Is that true or no?
For simplicity's sake, we can make that assumption, sure.
So then, it leads you down a path where you are hopefully narrowing the situations and outcomes down.
In what way do you want to narrow them down? How do you decide what's the right variable to choose when you split?
I don't know.
Well, when it comes to entropy, and this is one method for doing it, and it's a very popular method, you want to maximize the information gain that happens at each step. The amount of unpredictability. A way I like to think about it is, how much do you learn from revealing a particular value? Let me say like that maybe for Christmas I'm going to wrap up a toy for Yoshi in a box, and you don't know what's inside. And I ask you like, hey, what are the odds she's going to like this toy?
Did I see the toy or not?
No, you just see a 12 by 12 box that's wrapped and there's something inside.
30% chance she'll like it, 70% chance no.
Okay. Now, what if I added information? I said, oh, this toy has beads on it.
You're like, okay, she likes beads, 40 to 60.
What if I said it also has shreddable wood?
Yeah, I would say 50-50 then.
And what if I told you that written on the shreddable wood were the words, I hate birds?
Yoshi has no comment on words.
Yeah, she, as far as we know, doesn't have the ability to read English.
Yeah.
We can't test her for other languages because we don't read them. But as far as we know, she doesn't speak English from our experiments.
She speaks English.
Oh, yeah.
She says,
sorry.
I love you.
Right.
Hi.
Go on.
Yeah, she speaks English.
As far as we know, she doesn't read English.
Yes.
Can't say much for other languages. So that piece of information, that it has those words there, adds nothing to the predictability. If we were to divide up toys that say I hate birds on them and toys that don't, we don't learn anything because the birds don't actually have any preference over that. So that would not be a useful split because there's no information gain. Entropy is this core concept we can split on, where we want to keep in mind like, hey, if I know this information, does that make the new data sets, those that are, in class A or class B, or, whatever, if we say it's two classes or true, false, whatever, that I'm better able to predict the ultimate outcome from learning this new information.
So this is gain?
Yeah, information gain.
Means you're better able to predict the outcome.
Yeah.
Based on this information.
Right. And we measure information in terms of bits. That's why I started with the coin tosses and whatnot.
Okay.
The formula we use, and I know formulas don't work so great on audio podcasts, so follow me through this. You sum over all the possible outcomes. So what do I mean by possible outcomes? If the feature is the material of the toy, well, we know most toys are made of wood for birds. Some are made of plastic. Are there any other materials?
Leather, cardboard.
And then mixtures, of course. But there's a finite number of those, and they're of certain popularities. Shreddable woods, softwoods are much more common than hardwoods. We take their probability times the log of their probability. Actually, it's minus the log. Check in the show notes. I'm going to do some stuff on the dataskeptic.com post that goes along with this episode to go into a bit more detail about the mathematics of it.
So what does it mean when you have this entropy value?
It means you're measuring the amount of uncertainty that can be reduced by knowing that value.
So what does it mean when it's closer to 0 versus closer to 1?
If the gain is closer to 0, then that tells you that however much information you can have by learning that value, it doesn't allow you to make better predictions. If we were looking at bird toys, maybe Yoshi has some very slight preference to color or to some irrelevant feature, but not very strongly.
Right.
Then learning whether or not a toy has that feature or not doesn't really inform us very much. It could have a little bit of predictive power. But if, for example, you were like, oh, well, this toy was made by a left-handed person or was made by a right-handed person, she doesn't know. She doesn't have any preference. There's no actual information to be gained by learning that. But if, on the other hand, you said, oh, the material is shreddable wood versus hardwood, well, that's a lot of information that makes us able to better predict whether or not she'll like the toy.
Then what would the gain be?
The gain would be the difference between the decisions you would make prior to learning that information and the decisions you would make after having learned that information.
So then for materials, does that mean it's closer to 0 or 1?
I would say closer to 1 because she has a strong preference over materials.
Okay.
So we can build our decision trees based on how better we could predict the outcome of whatever we're studying based on some of the variables available in that system. Well, to wrap up, we're coming to a close on 2016 here. Are there any last-minute Christmas shopping things you have to do?
No, I don't really buy presents for anyone.
Not even me?
What present would you like?
I don't know. I might like a Data Skeptic t-shirt.
I thought you had one.
Well, I have 3, actually. But what about other people who
So you want 4?
No. I got my size 1 up, 1 down because I wanted to see if they fit good, and they do. And people should know you can now get Data Skeptic t-shirts at
dataskeptic.com.
That's right.
Well, it says Data Skeptic on it, and the shirt is black. And the logo is, I think, a lime or yellowish green.
No, it's yellow. There's no lime-ish, greenish.
I just want to chime in. Kyle's color deficient, so
No, I'm not.
he cannot accurately describe colors.
I'm red-green color deficient. It's not fair that you air my handicap on the air. This is a normal thing that many men have, just so you know.
You can edit me out. I love you.
All right, I love you too. But yeah, if people want to get a t-shirt, they should go where?
Dataskeptic.com and go to the store section of the website.
And there's a picture of our t-shirts that I took.
I saw it.
Yeah. Well,
you said it was just for testing and you went live with it.
Well, if you'll hurry up and send me a better one, maybe people will see that when they go to the site. And then
you got to give me a t-shirt.
Okay, yeah. Well, we can go in after this and do that. We'll see if it gets up. But we now have t-shirts. So please, if anyone's looking, actually, if you want a last-minute holiday gift, you better email me because time is tight here. And I'll have to double check some things to guarantee you shipment. But either way, this is the festive time of the year. You should definitely get one of our new shirts.
They come in a variety of sizes. Extra small to 4X.
Yeah, that's pretty good, right? Everything in between, of course.
Yeah.
They're sort of a Poisson distribution over sizes, from what I understand.
A fish?
Poisson.
That means fish in French.
No, it doesn't.
How do you spell it?
Poisson.
That means fish.
I mean, no, it means Poisson. It's named after the guy. He was measuring the likelihood that like horses would kick their trainers or something like that. Anyway, it's a very useful statistical distribution.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe we should do a
Anyways.
mini on that.
So the size of shirts means it'll probably fit you. Yeah, so you get to pick your own size.
Yes. If you go to dataskeptic.com, there's no surprises. We're not going to send you a random size.
Surprise! We're testing the Gini coefficient. How accurate is this size? It's a quick yes or no.
No, you're going to do your size, your address, and naturally your credit card, and we'll get you a shirt.
Okay.
All right. Well, thanks as always, Linda, for joining me to talk about entropy and its role in decision tree learning.
Unpredictability, yes.
Oh, yes. Good call. And until next time, I want to remind everyone to keep thinking skeptically of and with data. Good night, Linda.
Good night.
For more on this episode, visit dataskeptic.com. If you enjoyed the show, please give us a review on iTunes or Stitcher.